Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Tiffany. So I decided I'm gonna do a reading vlog journey thing, and I decided I'm just gonna read each volume of this manga individually and talk about it as I go. Because manga is so short, I'm not gonna stop and talk, I'm just gonna wait till the end. I was trying to decide if I want to do a dedicated review or if I wanted to maybe do a video for each individual volume, and there's 11, and I'm just like, I don't really feel like making 11 videos at this moment for this series. And I think it'd be more fun to see like my natural reaction instead of reading everything and then dissecting it. So this is how we're gonna go. And it's gonna take place over, several days, obviously. I do not own this series. I'm getting it from my library. There's 11. I do not have 11 books checked out right at this moment. But my library has all of them. So we're just going to see how this goes. And the series that I am going to be reading is The Girl from the Other Side. At the start of this video, I only have the first two checked out, volumes 1 and 2. The other ones are super easy to get. They're all available. The artwork intrigued me. I saw it in the store and I was just like, ooh, this looks really different. Let me just open up on a random page. I haven't read this yet. Everything just looks really dark when I was sipping through without reading. The reviews are great, so I'm gonna come back after I read this first one, and I'm really excited. And if you like this kind of content, let me know and maybe I'll make more of it. So I just read the first one. It took me like no time at all. This actually, this manga, at least this volume, doesn't have a lot of words. It's, like some mangas are more text heavy and some aren't, This particular volume was not text heavy. I knew nothing about this. I just literally got it because of the art and the library had it and it had good reviews. I just knew he took care of her. That was like literally all I knew about the premise. So the atmosphere and the worlds definitely seems to be most of the focus on this first volume. It's basically like there's this curse. It does not explain what this curse is, but there's a curse, and he's like a creature that's named like Teacher, and her name is Shiva, and he just takes care of her. This volume was very wholesome. They do like some cooking and he feeds her, and she wants to run away to find her aunt. And I don't know really how he got her, but like, it's really cute. Like, he doesn't like touch her. That's all I know. But without touching though, they have like a sweet relationship. Like, you can definitely feel like this is like an uncle or a stepdad or something, right? And at one, like, it's kind of like a dark fantasy, and I was thinking like maybe it'd be a little bit more gruesome or something. I didn't expect it to be like this level of wholesome. And I'm just showing, some art. I was looking down, like, it's just not a lot of text, so I definitely got through this fast. And the art itself is super, super dark. I really haven't seen this style in manga. There might be other ones out there, but I personally have not seen it. You can definitely tell he cares for the girl. I'm not sure what kind of creature he is, but I like the character design. And I'm just looking down, trying to find little pages to show because this is just non-scripted in how it's going. But you can see, like, it's really simplistic and everything definitely, like, I don't know, I just love the art. And there's other humans, right? And so they're wanting to kill her and him. He gets shot with arrows and, like, nothing happens really. So, yeah, there's that. And, she's looking for her aunt. And, yeah, that's just basically how that is. Like, I just love the art. I just keep showing the art so much. I like it a lot. And for the physical book itself, I like the texture. It's, like, really matte. I guess you can kind of tell. but it flops real good. I don't think that matters to most people, but I love the way this like book actually like physically feels. Is some art though that made it kind of hard to figure out what in the world was going on, just because it's just so dark, and she does get touched by the curse, but like everything's just so dark, and sometimes it's kind of hard. Like, here's another one. You have to actually like, I don't know if maybe reading this digitally you can show up some of the brightness, but I think the darkness is meant for some of the confusion because it doesn't explain anything. You're just flopped down into this world. I'm assuming more world building will come later. But yeah, that's the first one, and I want to go ahead and read the second one while I'm here. Oops, I just turned it around. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and probably read the second one today. I'm going to go to my library's website and put I'm thinking about maybe 3 to 5 on hold. And when I'm done with this and I make the vlog, I'm going to return it and maybe pick them up tomorrow-ish. I would love to read them all today. Maybe I should have gotten more, but I didn't want to check out too much and then end up hating it, even though they're available. I don't want to just hog everything. So yeah, I will come back after I read this one. Okay, so I just finished the second one. This one did not take me long either. This one's also not very text heavy. Look how great the art is. I love it. Look how pretty, just literally look how pretty that is. So this one actually left me quite confused. We see another aspect of this curse, and a little bit's explained, but not like a whole lot. They don't, I guess, I don't know if they know as much. I'm pretty sure Teacher knows more than he's letting on to Shiva. But she got touched, but a whole lot's not explained at all. And all I know is, see, here, he talked about how do you break the curse, because he cares about her and she got touched. But we see, more of these, creature things, and I'm just ultimately left slightly confused. I definitely want to read more, now. And I had to reread some of the water stuff. Does it say what chapter this is? Chapter 8. Oh yeah, I had to reread chapter 8 after I read it. I stopped and reread it. And, chapter 8. Because I just kind of got confused. Most of this was, underwater, but I enjoy this so far. The confusion, I think, is purposeful. Because everything's still dark and creepy, and they do go back to their lives just doing little wholesome things, and yeah, so I'm ready to pick up the third one. I went ahead and put 3 through 6 actually at hold at my library. I'm assuming it'll take a day or two to pick up. I can realistically go in the library and pick them up myself, because it'll tell you which branch they're in, and it's in the one closest to me. But I do it this way just because I'm vaccinated, and I do wear a mask and all that, but I'm just trying not to be too much in people's spaces or touch a million things. So instead of much browsing, I just kind of see on the website what they have, and I'm just trying to minimalize. I don't want to catch it, and I don't want to spread it. I'm just trying to be respectful, but I still want to use my library. And look at chapter 10's art. That is so cute. Literally, the chapter art is so adorable, and I think it's rather interesting. Everything is slow paced, so I'm not sure if you'll like this, if you like really fast action. But if you like a wholesome story, it's weird because with kids stuff, I'm very particular on kids stuff, whether it's from the kids' point of view or something like this. I'm just so particular, and they make her feel like a real child without being overbearingly annoying. And you can tell, it's weird, like it's quiet and he doesn't speak a lot, but just with his little actions and stuff, you can tell he really, really cares. And here is more beautiful art. I know I just keep showing the art, and this one has the same texture feeling that I said I like a lot. It flops real well. I'm just like, man, I like that. I don't buy a whole lot, but I'm really considering maybe I might purchase these in the future. I want to see if maybe they come in omnibus, but I love the texture. The art's nice. I like the spine a whole lot. And yeah, but I will not make that decision until like I read the entire series, and if I do, they're probably going to be used. So, but yeah, like I'm already thinking like, do I want to buy these instead of just using the library? Because I just like that, but I'm like, no, need to save money. Okay, so I don't know if this is the best place for me to record, but I wanted a little different area than where I normally do on my desk and in the floor, so this is just gonna have to work. I picked up 3 through 6 today, and this is actually the day after. And I thought Shiva was touched in an earlier one because she had like the hand black thing, but apparently, I don't know if that was just like a memory or what, because a creature comes in and touches her in this one, and her little auntie found her because of the soldiers. That's her aunt, and teacher's like, no, you need to spend some time with her. I don't have to always tag along because they're gonna go and do things. And well, sorry, my cat touched the tripod. So because Shiva's not showing any signs of the curse, and so I'm assuming teacher has this curse too, because she turns into this beast thing, and it seems like she turns relatively fast. And they do reach a village. We do see other normal humans that aren't the soldiers, and you know, they're panicking. They don't want any outsiders. I'm assuming these are insiders, and she's hiding, and people are like, no, we need to get all these. And they apparently don't give a crap on who they kill, right? Like, and the art is just phenomenal. I think the birds are informing them, and they're like, precious soul, they talk. It's interesting seeing the auntie as a beast as well, but, they do come back, and, teacher cares so hard. He's worried about touching her, even though she's already been touched and she's already cursed somebody. So I think it's interesting because the auntie turned pretty fast, but like Shiva was touched and she hadn't turned yet. I don't know if maybe it affects kids differently, or she's like the chosen one different, but because a lot of a lot of stories have, like the chosen one, like the person like Ellie from The Last of Us, she's immune. Maybe that's this little girl's story too, but we will see. I am so ready for the next one, and I'm so glad I picked up several. I just love the art though, it's so cute. It's like 9 in the morning, and I just read volume 4. I about grabbed volume 5, but I just read volume 4. I technically read this chilling on the sidewalk that's beside my place, just because I wanted to be outside and I couldn't sleep. So this one, we definitely learn more about the curse, and it's interesting to see the dynamics between Auntie Shiva and teacher. We learn more about Shiva's origins, which is interesting, and how she was found as a baby, little baby Shiva. And all of these are going to be dark, I'm pretty sure, because some of it's a little hard to tell. I think this one was less confusing than the other one. And we also learned that basically the curse makes it to where you cannot die at all, which is why when teacher got shot with the arrows, like, he didn't die, I suppose. And even though, like, you're not really supposed to touch, people know, you know, Auntie figured out she's cursed, so she touches her anyways, which makes me wonder if teacher will end up, like, hugging and embrace her eventually. You know, because he's been always so careful, even after he knew she got touched, to not do that. They go pick berries. It's interesting to see them cook, and there's a little comic relief, and this is just cute. This is just more for, like, I guess, like, just background knowledge and just more dynamics, because, like, apparently there's, like, memory issues, and I think, you know, the author is deliberately trying to make us really confused and such. Hey, we know as much as they know, I guess. Actually, we know a lot less, but I guess we know as much as Shiva knows, and I kind of like when stories do that versus, like, just a bunch of info dump, but at the same time, we're just plopped into this world instead of being like, oh, she's taken from the inside in the story and learning things. It's just like, oh, she's just existing and vibing, and we learn everything. So, and technically, I've read 5 as well. I forgot that I was vlogging my journey, and so I read 5 as well. So I'm just going to talk about this here too. And some of the stuff, like, I thought kind of already happened. Like, when I thought she was cursed, she apparently wasn't cursed till, like, the 3rd volume. But, you know, the hand-touching memory thing made me think she was already cursed. And when Auntie found like, when they went into the village and stuff, and, you know, like, all of that, right? Like, I got confused because some of the stuff ends up happening. Like, she's trying to take away from teacher, but I realized, like, I guess she didn't really know teacher existed just yet. It's just a little confusing. Like, this whole series is a little confusing, but more's coming forward. And I like that we see more of the insider's world. Like, it gives me, like, a medieval, maybe a Catholic vibe of the inside world. I'm not really sure. But I thought it was interesting, too, that the curse apparently turns people into trees. And that's how they live forever, is through trees. And she was losing a lot of her memories based off the fact that she's turning into a tree. I'm wondering how long teacher's been cursed and stuff, because he hasn't turned into a tree. And there's other creatures that he's talked to, and they're not trees. So I'm a little confused on who can turn into trees and who are not. I'm wondering, maybe some of these, I think they called them, like, dark children. Maybe they're born that way, or, and then some are cursed. I'm not sure. Maybe the curse affects people differently. But Shiva's really upset because she realizes teacher knew what the fate was of the tree and the memory issues, but he's just trying to keep us safe. And you know that trope of where the parents hide information and the kid gets mad? This happens here, but I'm not mad at this trope. I think it's done very well and effectively. And apparently some of the people who chased them also got touched and cursed as well. And so they're basically out for revenge. And, you know, so I guess action's about to happen, or at least more action. And we get more, like, background, and even though people can't die, they're still stabbing them anyways, you know, which is interesting. And then whatever this is, so I'm thinking we're going to see more creatures. And one thing I really liked was he was trying to get Shiva to leave, and they had a talk they kind of needed, but before they had the talk they needed, they're just yelling at each other and calling each other names. Nothing, like, too horrific, like literally little cream puff and ink pot. You know, like, there's nothing mean about it. She's just angry because she's grieving, and she felt like information was held from her. And even though she's really young, I'm not sure how old she actually is, but she's really young. Like, it definitely felt like a daughter-father thing that would happen. Like, she's just so angry. And this scene alone made them feel more fleshed out and more real than I think any other scene in the 5 that I have read. So I definitely like this a lot. I do. And I'm just ready to just get more into it because it's so slow paced. And I'm glad that like this is a finished series. Okay, so same day as I read 4 and 5, I went ahead and read 6. And because I just couldn't wait, even though I'm going to have to wait on 7. But I still had to come inside because the wind picked up really, really hard. So I just kind of went on my steps as soon as I came inside. I'm getting joined by my boys. Ignore them. Or not. They're really cute. Like, oh, come here, baby. Look how cute he is. But anyways, so I read 6 outside just because I wanted fresh air, and I was up anyways, and this one is different. They leave the home, and the fact that she kept a pie recipe that her auntie wrote down before she turned into a tree. And it's like, did she actually remember that and write that down, or she knew she was about to turn into a tree, so she went ahead and wrote it down? And they found the cottage that was talked about. It's really far out of the way. There's other abandoned buildings in this area. And we get more about like the insiders and how their world works and why they're scared of all of this. And it is religious. It doesn't exactly mention Jesus, and I haven't seen any crosses, but you know, they're saying like the pearly gates and stuff. So it's some kind of Christian, probably Catholic, but it doesn't tell you what time period this is influenced by. But just the vibe, usually fantasy does more Catholic stuff. So I'm thinking it's probably Catholic, but in reality, it doesn't matter. And we just see more of their interactions, and Shiva's grieving really hard, but she's trying to be strong. She's pretending to smile, and teacher's like, man, she's handling this so well, blah, blah, blah. And then she breaks down, and he's like, this is just a facade. And like grief really is like that. Like sometimes you're okay, sometimes you're not. Like without getting too personal, I'm actually going through some grieving myself, and it definitely feels like that. Like even if you're not trying to be a facade, sometimes you're okay, sometimes you're not. Even in the same day that it like happens, right? Everybody handles grief differently, and I like how this is being portrayed. We get some backstory on Teacher. He wasn't born a beast. He got cursed. Apparently he had a child and a wife. And he has a locket, but he don't remember anything. And like the aunt like couldn't remember stuff either. So I'm thinking this curse makes you forget your human life. And he seems to truly, like, it's crazy. Like, you don't see the facial expressions, and it might look kind of like daunting, like, but you can tell so much care. And when he realizes maybe like, you know, and then when I said earlier about the grief, it's just heartbreaking, because I guess like these creatures aren't supposed to feel, but he obviously feels some kind of care for her. But I'm wondering if he just can't feel like as intensely or what, because it's not really said. But he goes out to touch her. And so like I was thinking like maybe with the auntie touching her after she's already been cursed, I felt like we were eventually going to get that closeness between those two. Because if it's your child, of course you're going to want to hug them and stuff, especially when they're grieving. And, you know, like it'd be really hard to not just hug your child. And this is basically his child, and he gets ready to fight people. Turns out it wasn't a big deal, because there's like this little trickery. Like they found some of the abandoned houses that we walked past, like the soldiers or whatever. And one of the little crow things was like, yeah, I saw them in this area. But this little cottage is far away, just kind of out of sight. So they're kind of in a similar location. And I guess like a creature that is safe knocks on the door, so he gets ready to fight. But it shows like, you better gonna open up kind of thing. And somebody knocks on their door, so it's like, oh no, they found him. And nah, it's all safe. And I just thought, you tricked me. I've seen that like in cinema and stuff, but I haven't seen that in 2D mangas, occasionally, but not very often, and not effectively where I actually was like believing it, you know? Okay guys, so while I was dyeing my hair, I read number 7, and this one is definitely the most action-packed out of the first 7. Shiva is running from the other like black children creature things, and I'm sorry if you hear that noise, my cats are hyper. So, I mean, of course there's random parts that are action-based, but it's still kind of like part of the action. Like, Shiva is hiding from the creature in like a wardrobe closet thing, and what's interesting is this particular creature is actually like blind, and she knocks over a bucket, so he does find the area she's in, but she doesn't like instantly die or anything because, like, you know, he's looking down on her. He can't see. So she ends up running away, and he has a hard time chasing her because, you know, he can't see. And then he also turns into a tree. And I know they say maybe teacher is different, but it definitely makes me think so because of the fact of these guys turned into these creatures way, way, way after teacher, and they're already turning into trees. And I think it's interesting that they didn't have it doesn't seem like they had the memory problems, because they're definitely going for revenge and anger and whatnot, right? But this guy lost his vision. And he almost gets Shiva, but teacher like saves her. And what's interesting is, like, he blames himself for the curse and all this, even though he wasn't the one who initially touched her. But there is like a dark mark on her chest that symbolizes the curse, and he thinks his touch is the reason why, like, maybe the curse is getting activated. And, you know, he's just doing his best. It's snowing more. He goes and he talks to somebody else to see if there's anything he can do, because, you know, of course he loves Shiva. And all of this one was just super, super action-packed. There's more action when he leaves because they're trying to find the girl. I'm not really sure why they're more focused on the girl than they are the whole thing. But if it explained it, I guess maybe I didn't pick up on it. But the artwork is still beautiful, and I'm excited to get to number 8. I did check out 8, 9, and 10 along with this one, as I said I would, and I'm just having a lazy day, so I'm definitely planning on reading more today. This one also had more dialogue in the beginning. Like, maybe 1 through 4 had hardly any dialogue, and what they had was really important, which 5, 6, 7... they all have only important dialogue. That's the cool thing, is all the dialogue that is used, none of it feels filler. None of it just seems like extra stuff. Like, it all feels super intentional, and it all feels like a true, real purpose. And I like that, you know. It's definitely more showing than telling. So when you see the dialogue and them talking, it makes it so much more important. So I just finished number 8, the same day as 7. I'm going to have to read 9 because this, my heart is shattered. I actually started feeling emotions when I was reading through. Even in the very first chapter of this volume, I had to go down like, because it was just so much emotion, so much going on. I'm just like, oh my God, you know, like there was too many emotions, but I finished it because I hate myself. So, you know, Shiva was missing, looking for the locket, because the locket was, you know, missing at the end of the last one. And I didn't know how much that would come from it. That's like his only real proof of like his wife and child. But he didn't seem too bothered. So he finds Shiva, you know, and she talks about, yes, I found the locket. Because she just, you know, she's a kid. She wants to be sweet. And then that's when real pain happens. She mentions that she saw like the mark on her chest before now, so it had nothing to do with him. It was around the time they showed up to the cabin, because she thinks maybe it was like all the walking and nothing bothered her till then, and he feels bad, and he had an idea from what he should do when he went to go talk to that other guy. So he stabs himself in the chest. He literally gives his soul up to save Shiva. And, she wakes up in her bed, and he's having this weird, almost like he's putting her down into bed, but he knows he's about to lose his memory, just like Auntie, and her spot is gone. And the reason he does this is because apparently you can repair a soul, like the curse destroys the soul and rots it into pieces. And a way to save that, you can take another soul and fill in the missing gaps. And while your soul may not be fully recovered, in theory, it should work well enough to keep you from dying and turning into a tree, right? Which technically they don't die. But you being a tree and not having no consciousness, you may technically be alive, but in my brain, that's basically dead, right? And her spot's gone. It worked. And teacher can't remember anything. Like, he's like, even like, what's teacher? What's Shiva? I'm just like, and like the soldiers came, found them. And teacher doesn't even try to stop them because he doesn't remember. They don't kill him. They're just like, he's no longer a threat. She's in a dungeon. Somebody's like, hey, we might, eat your food. Don't make too much noise. So I'm thinking this guy's probably going to try to get her out. And it kind of has like, especially with the Catholic Church thing, I'm wondering if they're trying to symbolize like sacrificing, kind of like a Christ thing. I'm thinking it's the allusion to that because it's the Catholic Church. A lot of stories do play on a form of this. I'm wondering if Shiva is related to the royalty person. I'm wondering. But I'm going to have to start 9 because I need to know. I was going to be good, just read a couple today, read a couple later, then like finish the final volume digitally, right? After that ending, I'm going to need some food. And I think I'm going to read it today, But I'm going to eat some food first because I need to process what I just read. This one chilled. It started off not as upsetting, even though I did have to eat a small lunch before I read this. The ending's sad. The ending's even worse than the last volume. But you knew it was going to happen because the ending... Teacher becomes a tree. His sacrifice. And we knew that was going to happen. The memory was fading. Like, we knew he was going to die. And he reached out with his branch and like pet her. She returned the locket. We knew that was going to happen. That did not make me want to cry any less. So the part that wasn't sad, and all before the ending, because I just talked about the ending first. So we get like a lot, and I mean a lot of info dump about the curse in the world and basically their religion. It's a little different than Catholicism. It's just like a Catholicism look-alike, apparently, as far as aesthetics go, but they definitely believe different. And I do think, look how beautiful this is. Like, this artwork, absolutely gorgeous. But it's just like a lot of info dumping, and we get so much. Everything else up till like volumes 1 through 8 has been a slow burn. We slowly get information, and we're just like pounded with so much at one time because basically a dude tells us everything, right? And I actually don't mind it, but it definitely felt weird, especially after going such an emotional volume before this, which, people are either reading it in chapters or they're waiting for the next volume to come out. But if you're binging it, it does feel like a mood shift. But I could definitely see it being nice if you're reading week or however the chapters came out when they came out, or you're just waiting volume to volume, right? I kind of like the change of mood a little bit before we got upset again. So it's nice to finally understand like why they believe this way. I don't know why, you know, like if we want to talk about video games or other movies and stuff like The Last of Us, how they just wanted to kill Ellie and dissect her brain to see why she was immune. She was not really immune, but she definitely reacts to the curse differently. Like, why do they always want to kill them or sacrifice them or dissect them? Like, to me, that's strange. Like, honestly, if they should be exposed, which I'm not a scientist, I would think like, what about you keep them alive and see if maybe it's delayed? Maybe if it's this, maybe it's like not just straight up mark everybody, you know? So yeah, I'm unsure if I'll read volume 10. Oops. If I'll read volume 10 or 11 today. I think I'm not going to because I read 3 today. Okay, so I read volume 10. So this is going to be the last one I do for this video because I assumed I could find chapters 50 through whatever chapter it ends on online. I couldn't. I tried, like there's several apps that you can legally stream, like Shonen, which I know this is a Shonen, but there's other companies too. They're not the only ones. And sometimes I'll pay for like a month to read a series or something like that, right? Or I actually looked for scans. I could not find any scans for chapters 50 through whatever. So I'm going to end this here. And I'm just going to do a separate video for 11 and my overall thought on the series because I don't want to finish today like October 18th or whatever and then wait till the 9th to finish this video. I just feel like I could do that, but I don't want to do that. So I'm going to talk about this as I'm kind of sad that I can't finish this off. So I was really confused by this cover because obviously volume 9, he turns into a tree, right? And Shiva finds out, you know, or finds him turning into a tree as he's turning. Well, this is like one of the 2 volumes I think I'm not giving a 5-star to just because of a trope I don't like. I do not like resurrection tropes too often. I don't like when people come back, which for how much I read manga and anime and most fantasy stuff or watch them, you'd think I would have no problem with that, which that trope doesn't kill the story for me, but I do like it more when deaths are permanent, especially since like he literally comes back the next chapter, which he came back because Shiva gave his soul to him, kind of like how he did for her, right? So she is a dark creature as well, and he actually remembers everything because the soul is back into him. He realizes what she did, and I'm sorry. My youngest one keeps knocking into the tripod and he's upset. He feels basically guilty and he understands. He thought about maybe they could just, you know, do the time they have together, I guess turn into trees together or something. I don't know. And from the first few chapters, it talks about like his life and I guess his memories came back when the soul re-entered his body, right? And, you know, we basically learn, you know, I'm pretty sure it's implied that Shiva's his child. That's what I kind of implied because, you know, it says, hey, watch out for Shiva, Albert. But he hasn't confirmed this himself, so I don't know if maybe like, because his soul went to her and then their souls went back to him. I don't know if the memories got mixed or what. So I'm not going to like, you know, say that's absolutely it. But it's implied that. And, you know, he's just going through a lot of grief. And he's trying to go through his normal life. And then it talks about like when he first became like this creature. Apparently like Shiva was like, or Shiva, I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong either way, was always one of these creatures, but she had somebody like helped her out, you know. So that's why she was kind of outcasted anyways. But when she got that part of the soul, she got turned into this figure. And, you know, she's left with a note. And it talks about, like, when he found her. And, you know, of course, she mentions, like, her auntie. But it seems like they weren't together as long as I originally thought. This was a little confusing. But I like getting all the backstory to all of this. And, you know, the art is still, like, incredible. Thankfully, we don't have as many dark scenes, which I do like the dark scenes, but sometimes it's nice to see what's going on, right? And just more heartbreaking stuff, because that's Shiva in this figure form. So I guess her body grew, I guess, because she's going to become a tree or whatever. So I guess she's not going to become a short tree, which that's what I assumed, right? If kids gotten it, like maybe similar to the size, but apparently not. Apparently, whatever. I'm wondering how she became like a kid though, because it looked like she was a baby. All of this is so beautiful. Like, I think this, you know, I talk about like it's nice sometimes to see what's going on, but this is not what I mean. This is beautiful, but sometimes it's just like a little too dark to understand what's going on. And, you know, just this one does hit the feels. I think 8 and 9 are definitely my favorite out of the 10. And I know I said a little bit about this earlier about how they're so emotional. I think 8 is my absolute favorite, but I love 9. I kind of don't mind that he came back, even though I said I'm not a big fan of the trope. I just kind of wish it was a little while later, or maybe we have memories, or maybe we saw more with the church and then we see something instead of just being directly. But I've got to wait to finish the series, how it plays out. The cover looks like this. Unfortunately, I can't just finish this out yet. I got to wait till November 9th. So, guys, that is it. I definitely recommend you read this from what I've read so far. I'll do another video on 11 and tell you what I think of the whole series. But hopefully the ending does not suck. I got to wait like a normal person.